She had gotten a job, and about the same time she got that job, she opened a separate bank account. I didn't know that she did that. And she started saying things like, my car, my room, my kids. I didn't catch it in the moment, okay? But looking in my rear view, I saw the signs clear as day. Well, hey, and howdy, folks. Yep, Coach Mike back here for yet another episode. Yep, season 2 of the Drive to Thrive podcast, where breakdowns become breakthroughs. Now, I'm titling this Money Moves, okay? Securing your finances. It's the second episode in a series we're calling the first 90 days. Okay, those first 90 days, yeah. It's the roadmap from the moment that the divorce bomb drops and all that wreckage until the day that you're back in your driver's seat and getting on down the road. Okay. Last episode, we talked about triage. Okay. I pulled out the old EMT jacket and we talked about triage and how an ambulance has to do with making you stable. Okay. In those first 24 hours. Now, today we're going to move on to the next critical step. Locking down your finances. Okay. Now, let me tell you a quick story, okay? Back in my first marriage, my wife, who left suddenly with the kids, okay, I realized later when I started looking back that she had been planning for a while, okay? She had gotten a job, even though I was making some pretty dang good money, okay? She gotten a job, and about the same time she got that job, she opened a separate bank account. I didn't know that she did that. And she started saying things like, my car, it was our car, our house, our room, our kids. But once she got her job, that language changed to my car, my room, my kids. I didn't catch it in the moment, okay? But looking in my rear view, yeah, I'm in the car, okay? Looking in my rear view, yeah, I got some 2020 hindsight. Okay, I saw the signs clear as day after the fact. Now, here's what my brother Gio is always reminding me of, okay? Most men are oblivious to what's happening right under their nose. Okay, that language change, yeah, Gio's like, yep. She's already checked out. She's making plans, and my wife did, okay? And most men, they just think things are just hunky-dory when they're not, okay? And then the bomb drops. And then the wreckage causes a bunch of chaos. Okay? Guys lose their mind, they lose their money, and just about every other M word that you can think of, okay? But that's why this episode matters, guys. Okay? In fact, money isn't just an occasional reason for divorce. Okay, research shows, listen to this, it's the third leading cause overall, right behind incompatibility. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I guess they're incompatible. And infidelity. Okay, so finances are right up there. Here's the kicker, though. Even when it's not the official reason, money, stress, finances, yeah, I'm pretty sure it fuels a huge number of other issues that end up causing that divorce bomb to be dropped. Emotional disconnect, all those things, right? So look, when a big rig's brakes go out, you're going downhill, right? You don't just hope that you'll stop in time, okay? You're going to pull out every safety measure that you've got in you to be able to make sure you can stop before the crash happens. Same thing here, guys. Same thing. We're going to secure your financial brakes so that you can control the descent and avoid a crash that wipes out your future. All right? Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense here. Now, why are we talking about money moves so early in it? In divorce, money, finances, it's the battlefield. Okay. And if you don't take if you're not smart about it, take some legal steps. Now, I'm not a lawyer. Okay. Nothing about his is about says that I'm a lawyer. I'm very far from a lawyer as you can get. Okay. But you're going to find yourself blindsided if you don't take these steps. You're going to have some drained accounts, I bet. Maybe some surprise debts that might happen. You might even not be able to get cash when you want it. All right. Ooh. Now, we're not talking about hiding assets, okay? That can backfire legally, okay? We're talking about protecting what is yours and making sure that you can keep operating while this divorce process plays out. That's what we're talking about. The key right here is to move quickly, but carefully, okay? Like it's kind of like a driver going through an obstacle course. You want to do it quickly and move quickly, but you don't want to be jerking the wheel. Otherwise, you end up on the side and have a crash, a rollover crash like I did. You don't want that. Okay, step one. Now we're going to have some steps here, just like we did in the previous. Step one. If all of your money is going into a joint account, like mine was, you're exposed. Okay? See, my wife did it smart. She got a job, and the money that she made went into an account that she opened, didn't tell me. Yeah. Even if things feel like they're okay, you're going to want to open your own account, guys, and have your paycheck go to that account. I hope I'm making sense here. You don't want to have your soon-to-be ex having access to the money that you're making. All right? Even with things feeling okay, emotions can change like that. Okay, your first move, open that account, your name only, preferably not in the bank that you have the joint account. Okay, you want it in a different place than that, and that way your paychecks can start from that moment forward. Can be in a safe where only you have access to it. All right. Now, why a bank? Why a different bank? It just keeps things clean. Okay, and you avoid any kind of, because if the bank people know you and it could get weird. Okay, you might have some crossover that you don't want. Okay, you don't want to do that. That's the income part. What about credit cards? What about debt? Okay, so here's the next step. You need to lock down your credit. You need to have what's it called, a freeze, right? So if you've got any kind of lines of credit or credit cards, you want to make sure that you call the issuer, call the bank, call whoever has those cards, and make sure that you put a freeze on any further charges on that card. Now you're thinking, oh, that's pretty harsh. Hey, what you're doing is you're protecting both of you from sudden spending spree that could be detrimental. Yeah. But most importantly, though, too, you're protecting your own credit score in the process. All right. So these things probably can seem a little bit weird to talk about right off the bat, but they're very important. Okay. I've seen way too many guys, including myself, have some problems financially. So yeah. The next step, you're going to want to create a snapshot. And I talked a little bit about this in episode 1 about being able to make copies of all your accounts, bank accounts, credit cards, loans, car loans, home loans, retirement accounts, any kind of properties that you have. You want to make sure that you have a listing, like a snapshot of all of these things. Okay, it includes everything, the account numbers, the balances, all of this. This right here, this snapshot is your before picture. Okay, so that if anything changes unexpectedly, guess what? You now have a record on a specific date that you took this snapshot. And when things start changing, you can figure out why. Now, if you've done the previous steps, like locking down your credit, you're putting a freeze on your credit lines, your lines of credit, and your credit cards with no further charges, you shouldn't have a problem with that part. And if you've got a separate bank account as well, so you see how this is starting to work out. Uh, you'll know if there's anything missing or moved in the process because you've got that snapshot. Now, ooh, here's the next part. You got to understand the difference between marital and separate property, okay? Not everything you own is going to be split 50-50. And not everything you think is yours is protected, all right? You got to learn the difference here very early. You don't want to make costly assumptions here. Separate property might include assets owned before you got married or inheritances that came to you. Okay? But the rules vary state by state. So you're going to want to get some legal advice here. Financial and legal advice. Step 5, consult a lawyer before you do any kind of big moves. You catching my drift here? This is where Geo comes in about hiring a good lawyer. You don't want to be hiding assets. You just don't. Even if you're just protecting yourself, before transferring any kind of large sums or selling property, talk to a divorce attorney. Okay, you're going to need the expert here, and it's not about fear right here. It's about making sure that your moves, your money moves, the title of the episode, right? Your money moves are both legal and that they can't be twisted and come back to bite you later. That's what this is all about. All right. Now look, you've secured, you've taken your financial snapshot, you've opened an account that's just you, your paycheck is going there. You've consulted an attorney. Okay. Once all these basics are done, this is the time that you're going to start to want to think long term. Now, how are you going to handle child support, alimony? You only got a one income budget, right? Do you need to start building an emergency fund now? Oh, see, I didn't do any of this stuff. I did it from behind the 8 ball. What about insurance and retirement contributions and all these other things? And look, you don't have to have all the answers, okay? But the sooner that you start planning it's like before you go on a trip, right? You do some planning. Before you start moving towards a certain destination, you got to make some plans. The sooner you start doing that, the smoother that the road will be, the financial road. All right, look. Oof. In the first 90 days, that's what this whole series is about. Money problems can easily become emotional problems. And emotional problems can become legal problems. Believe me. Okay? I went from money problems. Okay? I got fired from my job back then. The only time I've ever gotten fired was right after my wife had left and all kinds of things happened. Yeah. Emotional problems. And they became legal problems. That was me. Punching the hole in the wall and all. Yeah. Take control of your finances. When you do it early, it helps you to stay calm, stay confident. It helps you to stay in the driver's seat. Okay? Quick checklist here for your money moves. All right? Open your own bank account. Number 1. So your paycheck goes there. Number 2, freeze your credit. No more charges. Create a financial snapshot of everything. Okay? Learn about marital versus separate property. Consult a lawyer before any big moves. And remember, this isn't about greed. It's about stabilizing. Yes, you can't drive yourself forward if your financial wheels are falling off the rig. You can't go. Yeah, I've seen wheels come off of rigs. You don't want that financially because then that will stop you dead in your tracks. Okay, look. Hopefully this helps. I'm not a financial expert. I did all this stuff wrong back in the day, but I am currently in a separation from my current wife, and I'm taking actions that I'm talking to you about. Is I'm not speaking out my ass here, okay? I do have a separate account. Uh, we do have a joint account. I'm not using that anymore. I have my own separate account. I have a financial snapshot of my finances. I have hired an attorney. Okay. So, and I haven't made any big money moves yet. I don't really have a whole lot. Um, I've got the car that I'm in. I've got a house that she's in that's ours. And I got to do some, that's that marital versus personal property thing. So I'm there with you guys. And so, hey, this is Coach Mike Mack. This right here is the Drive to Thrive podcast. We're in that second season where we're this 90-day series, and this has been money moves. Okay, this is all about money moves and securing your finances. You don't want those financial wheels coming off, guys. All right, now, please, if this has been helpful to you, please share it with a brother who's starting this journey. Please do that. And if you're wanting that checklist, a little PDF to help you, drop checklist in the comments, and I'll shoot that out to you. You'll have a great rest of your day. I hope this finds you in a good spot. If that bomb just dropped, if a divorce bomb just dropped on you, know this: you're not alone, and you've got some help out there. See y'all next time.